Hey, this is Case and Rope from Covering Ground, and today we're going to talk about fletching arrows. More specifically, we're going to talk about how you can fletch arrows with super glue and avoid getting that white hazy residue that has been driving me bonkers. So all this started back when I decided I wanted to add some black wraps in veins to my arrows. And fletching with super glue, I was noticing this really super junky looking, like whitish residue that would dry on with the super glue. So at first I thought like maybe this is just an issue with super glue period and I need to find a different glue if I'm gonna use this black wrap. But after looking at some forums, found out that's not the case. There are actually a couple of really simple things you can do to avoid that haze, and that's what we're gonna cover in this video. So here's what you're gonna need. You will need some Q-tips. I like to use a sponge, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. Some Goo Gone. I think you could probably get away with using like isopropyl alcohol or denatured alcohol. I just think those might be a little bit harsh, and I wasn't sure how they're gonna affect the wrapper, if they would, and this seems like it might be a little bit more gentle. Paper towel, classic. And then last thing you're gonna need is a tweezers. So the whole premise here is we're gonna be trying to apply the veins to the shaft. We're not gonna touch the wrap or the veins. The thing that causes that whiteness to show up in your super glue so it doesn't dry clear, it dries cloudy, is moisture. So what happens is if you're handling the veins when you're putting them in the jig, that is picking up the moisture from your fingers, getting them on the vein before you apply the super glue, and then the super glue picks that up and blooms. So let's get into it. Okay, the first step is a really simple one, but the first thing I like to do once I have the arrow wrapped, I'm touching this with my fingers, so I'm going to take that sponge with the Goo Gone and just wipe this down to get all that moisture from my fingers removed. And then I'm going to take a paper towel and just wipe it dry. And then I'm going to take this and set it down to dry. So I'll probably put it in front of a fan for maybe 5 minutes. Again, like while you're working from one arrow to the next, just like by the time you get to that 6th arrow or however many you're doing, this one's gonna be ready to go and ready to fletch. So it's a really important small first step. You wanna get this, the moisture from your fingers off the wrap or the shaft with some Goo Gone, let it set in front of a fan for 5 minutes and you're good to go. For the next part, we're gonna go down to the desk and I'll show you what my fletching process looks like. All right, some time has passed. This is nice and dry now. So it's time to fletch. Let's talk a little bit about that. So first thing, again, I'm not touching the area with the wrap that I'm gonna be fletching here. So I'm gonna start by tossing it in the jig. And then here I have my veins I'm gonna be using. These are some Blackout Blazers, our trusty tweezers, super glue or cotton swabs. We have everything where we need it, which is nice, handy. So I'm just gonna pick it up with the tweezers and toss it in the jig there, and then I like to just sort of line it up, move it where I need it, and then we're gonna apply our glue. Up. And then this is where these cotton swabs come in handy, so I like to take these and then just run it from the back to the front. And then one thing I do is I just bend off that side so I know I've used that side. So next time I'm going to use that side. I don't want to use any of them twice. I don't want to like touch the tips that I haven't used, because that's what's going to keep this nice and clean looking. I'm just gonna give this a couple minutes and then we'll get to the rest of them. Alright, I think this one is done. Open up that clamp. I like to wipe this down too, just in case there's any super glue residue. So again, we're gonna seat that vein using our tweezers and the clip. It's funny, when someone on a forum recommended, oh, just like don't touch your veins in your arrow shaft, I really thought to myself, well, that's not really feasible. But it turns out it's really not that hard to get away with, as long as you're just like a little bit thoughtful about what you're doing. They're gonna wipe it off with the other side of that same Q-tip. Now that one's no good. I'm getting that one out of the way here. We'll give it another couple minutes to set that vein before we work on the last one. I think we've given it enough time. Open that up. Wipe this down. Rotate this. Grab our vein. Grab the clamp. Apply the glue. Use our Q-tip to get just that line of glue off that edge. One other thing to note with this, I know a lot of times when you're fletching, it'll say, all right, apply a dot of glue at the front and the back of each vein. In fact, it sounds like the instructions for these blazers. I tried that with the first ones I did, and that like caused a lot of that bloom to happen just because I think it's just a bead of glue sitting there in humid air. I found that because I apply a little bit more glue, I don't need to do that. So when I apply it starting at the back and pushing forward, it naturally is going to create a small little dot of excess glue at the front and back of the vein. And I found these to be really, really durable, even though I'm not adding that extra dot after the fact. I was testing out some broadheads the other day, and I ended up shooting with like veins being buried in the middle of a foam target and having to pull them through, and not even a hint of anything wrong with any of them. So there's a little hot tip for you. And I think that should be good. Let's take a look here. What a thing of beauty. Now I know a lot of you are probably thinking, oh, you won't be able to see where you hit the deer. You're not gonna find your arrow. Yeah, it's probably true. I don't care. Look how cool this looks. So yeah, last step is while these are drying, like for the long haul here, I like to set them out with a fan blowing on them. So I normally fletch at nighttime after the kids are asleep. So I'm gonna set this up overnight with a fan blowing out just to keep extra humidity off of it. So that's the video. Hope it was helpful. If you enjoyed it, definitely feel free to like and subscribe. Even feel free to comment about how stupid it is that I plan on hunting with black veins. I can take it. I'm a big boy. But yeah, also if you want to check us out on Instagram, we're Covering Ground Hunt. I'll put that link in the description so you don't have to like try to get the underscores and everything right. But yeah, thanks for checking us out, and stay tuned for more videos that will definitely be coming in the future.